Okay, time for change. Change to everything and absolutely anything. But with that being said, the most obvious question could be how's this all to begin? And even though this is to be a free exploration concerning the experience that came to be experienced during that of the walk of life, have I said that correctly? Honestly, who seeks perfection within this life? We can only emotionally seek perfection from our emotions. It's only our emotional love, peace, happiness, and freedom that is to be emotionally pure, and that is to be emotionally perfect, whereby our minds are not perfect. Whereby, if we were to freely express your emotions, right? How is one able to freely express your emotional peace, your emotional love, your emotional happiness, your emotional freedom? The infinite amount of knowledge that we are able to freely express this unto others, to be able to share this within this physical state. To put all these words in such a perfect way, that would only be seeking a state of, deceit, surely. That would be totally scripted. And even in that, surely wouldn't we be leaving something out? An infinite amount of knowledge. How can we possibly freely express an experience, right? Any experience, a living experience, right? So the mere fact is, it would be acknowledging that I came to divide this entire experience in 7 different sections, which are also able to be physically noticed upon the physical appearance of the cannabis leaf, whereby the center leaf of the cannabis leaf is to be represented by the reason of the journey. Okay, and then the second and the third is to be represented by the nature and the people, and the fourth and the fifth is to be represented by the accommodation and the location, and where the stem is to be represented by the food, the beverages, and the clothing, and where the 7th center of the cannabis leaf is to be represented again by the whole spiritual experience, the emotional experience, so to speak. Recognizing that we come to emotionally experience and emotionally explore with the emotional state of awareness, right? So whenever we come to a state of emotional clarity, whereby if it were to be directed towards emotional truth, this emotional state of acknowledgement or awareness is, of course, to be through the emotional state of awareness. Of course, we have come to exist with the egotistical perspective state of thought consciousness, the emotional state of awareness, and with the emotional consciousness. And of course, it is the emotional awareness is the state of I am. Our little states of I am. This is our emotional spirits, right? Beyond this physical state, right? So, if we were to explore the reason for this emotional explorative experience that was described as the walk of life, it was not only a calling for myself to discover, practice, and create some form of meaning within this life, but it was also a state of inspiration that was intended to possibly inspire others that there is more to life than a limited, confined, enslaved, and imprisoned state of reality. That what people have come to describe life just to be as is. There is more to life than what has been described to be as is, and there is more to life than what is possibly to be expected from life. To expect life, to expect anything from life, is to only be basing it on a previous explorative experience. But of course, life is so inevitable, life is so changing. Birds fly around, not in the same patterns, not in the same direction. The wind blows left, right to center on any given day. Today it could be cloudy, tomorrow it could be sunny. life changes, and the mere fact is to expect certain things from life can only lead to disappointment, recognizing that this disappointment is obviously to be a state of suffering. However, when individuals come to promote peace, love, happiness, I mean, there's one thing of saying something, but there's a difference to practicing it, right? I mean, again, there's one thing to saying something, and then there's a difference to practicing. So again, if I were to reflect upon the reason for this emotional explorative experience, is again able to be described as a state of hope. And again, I came to discover a lot. I came to learn a lot, and I came to wake up to a lot. And the mere fact is, I mean, if the reason, right, if we actually think about this in this way, there's the reason and then there's the meaning. There's the beginning and then there's the ending. There's the birth and then there's life, and then there's death, right? And in between all of this is a journey, right? And the mere fact is life not more than just a journey? Whereby, if you were to research how has a journey been described within any dictionary, it has been described as going to a place, excursion. If we were to explore how has excursion been described, it has been described as a journey. Thus, a journey exists within a state of comfortability, and what makes this state of comfortability is that we have come to imprison ourselves from not being hurt, recognizing that due to a state of fear, we have come to exist within a state of comfortability. And yet it has been quoted that life begins at the end of your comfortability zone. So in this being stated, I would be also acknowledging that life is more than just a journey. I mean, life is that of adventure. Whenever we're to explore how has adventure been described within any dictionary, it has been described as having the courage to do something or go somewhere. Thus, it is breaking the boundaries of limitations and we are breaking the boundaries of the existing fear, breaking the boundaries of the state of comfortability that we have come to exist within, right? So again, I mean, if we had to think about this as well, the main fact is that the meaning cannot exist without the reason. I mean, without the reason, there would be no meaning to anything. I mean, that would be saying that the end of your life would be completely pointless, because, I mean, you just didn't come to exist. I mean, you came to be born, right? And there is a reason. So again, it is able to be described that the reason is valued more than the meaning. I mean, if we actually think about the very, very first footsteps that we ever took in this world began with with one singular step, and how many steps have we come to tread since then? Anything that we have come to eat, it all began with one singular state, right? And anything that we want to pursue in this life, I mean, if we actually think of dreams, peace, love, happiness, freedom, it all begins with a singular step. And again, it's, as somebody said, it's not about looking at the entire fleet of steps, but it's all more importantly about taking that very first footstep. So this was inspiration that individuals are able to move forward towards change, move forward towards the betterment of life, not only for themselves, but for all others that have come to exist within their lives, and to become more a part of a living earth and a living, existing, divine universe, right? So, to start the whole exploration, right, if I were to move on to my experience with people, right, it would be acknowledging that, again, the journey started in Mossel. the experience that I came to experience, right, being dropped off at Mossel Bay and not knowing where to go, right, and then being directed this way to an African taxi who truly was not interested again to assist, right, but yet plead and plead and plead, and you ask kindly enough, and eventually the individual gave in, and he stated that he was going to the center of town, right? So you make your way, you put all this stuff into this taxi, this African taxi, and next minute you go on this journey and you land up on the outskirts of some mall, right? And again, you don't know where this mall is. So again, it's a back and forth mission. What's going on? And it's kind of funny enough that when you want to explain to somebody that you just don't know where you are, how mind-boggling or puzzling that somebody finds it so hard to understand that you don't know where you are, right? And that they just seemingly expect you to have some GPS map in your mind of knowing where you are. I mean, this can be directed into so many levels towards life. I mean, nobody's. I mean, the craziness of it all, and then the whole main aspect is that you are transferred from one taxi to the next taxi, and then you're sitting there for some time thinking, okay, this is the right one, and you start communicating with more people that are coming into the cab, and next minute the driver comes to you and he tells you, no, now you must get out of the cab and you must now go get into another cab, right? And so then you go and do this, right? And then when you get into the cab, there's some woman sitting in front that doesn't know you at all, right? And now all of a sudden wants to give you an insulting remark of that you've got too much luggage, and that we're wasting our time and driver's time, and we're taking up too much space, and acting as if the whole that she's actually operating the taxi. Meanwhile, she doesn't stay there at all, right? So the main fact is, you move forth, but there was kind enough people in the taxi and all of that to help out and all of that. So we were then again under the influence that again they were going to the center of town, right? So again you move on, and all of a sudden this cab drops you in the middle of nowhere again, and everybody's telling you that you must go down this long massive hill, which I kind of knew from years back, right? So you start this journey down this long massive hill not knowing again where you're going, and then you're coming to certain people along the street, right, that aren't willing to help you, right? The mere fact is that this is the type of kindness, that people have come to exist within a reality. This is this what we have come to exist within, right? So you go into a few stores, and then all of a sudden a kind lady comes out with a whole telephone book and all of that, looks up directions and directs you again. So again, up another hill and up another hill. By the time that we actually got to the backpackers, right, I must say I was overjoyed by finally arriving, and the words that were coming out of my mouth was thank God, thank God, thank God, because literally it was a blessing from God that finally you arrived, sweating all of the stuff. And kind enough, very, very sweet person, lady, showed us the establishment and all of that. Very, very stunning place. Parkhouse Lodge, Mossel Bay, very, very awesome place. Showed us a nice little location, set up camp and all of that, stayed and all of that. And during that stay, again, you come to meet different people, and again, you're meeting, I met Americans, an Australian, I met an Austrian, who has been backpacking around this country for the past 4 months or something like that, because he blatantly says that it is not doable in Europe because of the weather. So he'd rather come to this country and backpack around this country, right? So the biggest disappointment again is that, again, there's this old man sitting there in this backpackers, and he has got such a chip on his shoulder that, again, you are new to this establishment, but again, you are now seemingly forced to just know about everything, know how things operate and all of this. And the mere fact is that there is a way of talking to individuals, and then there's a way of talking to individuals. And the mere fact is, if you actually truly think about it, I mean, everything starts with a beginning, right? And it will come to have an ending, right? But what, again, is most important is the beginning. I mean, how we come to say certain things to individuals, the first things that we say and the first reactions that we give. I mean, this is how we, come to emotionally feel about an individual on a first basis. I mean, with the type of vibe that this individual is giving and all that. So again, I don't understand this individual and all of that type of thing, and his pressures of life and all of that, but it's quite saddening that how this individual is able to treat complete strangers, and so many others are able to treat complete strangers with so much disrespect, and that then they want respect in their lives, right? But yet they don't seem to understand that respect is given, respect is shared. I mean, you show me respect, I show you respect. I mean, this is basically how it should go. But anyways, moving on, very pleasant little town, must say that. Everything's basically shuts down 4:30. I was mind blown by that, totally, virtually everything closes by 5 o'clock. Everything is basically closed, So that was a bit mind-boggling. And what was also mind-boggling is the capitalization of the tourist market in Mossel Bay. How there is so many guest houses everywhere, like literally there, and backpackers like everywhere. Like, I mean, honestly, they have just so capitalized on the tourist market in this little town. And the mere fact is that what I can't understand is that when you go to a store, right, and you speak English, right, and they come out speaking a different language, one would think that because you are speaking a different language, English, you're a stranger to this town, and maybe they just want to be a tiny bit more polite or something like that. And maybe you would think that it would be courteous to, how could you say, be courteous towards the visitors' language, right? I mean, there's a sign of equal respect here, and the mere fact is that, is it right? How would that work? Am I supposed to be courteous towards their language and changing my language, or are they supposed to be courteous towards my language and changing their language? But yet I kind of felt that they weren't prepared to change their language for anything, regardless of what I said, regardless of anything, with kind gestures, anything like that. They weren't prepared to change the language, well, majority of them. And I just kind of felt that, it is very conservative. It is, people go to church and people go to these religious places, and they go there with this intention of the betterment of life, right? Thinking that, okay, cool, I'm going to this place and it's going to give me some form of betterment of life. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to listen to this individual and it's going to give me some form of betterment of life. But again, and then they're going to come out and saying all these different things for the betterment of life. And yet, where is the practice? Where is the practice of it all? I I heard something the other night, and it kind of blew my way, how some person, actually came out stating, he does all these programs, but every single time he finishes one program, another person comes to him and says, when's the next program going to start, before even practicing that spiritual program. And that's the main fact, is that people want all these things, and want kindness, and want humanity, and want equality, and all of that. But how far are people willing to actually go? I mean, thinking about moving on towards George Bay, hitchhiking and all of that type of thing. People are in the understanding that this country is no longer safe anymore, but yet they will see an individual standing there with a thumb out. And I don't know what I look like, I don't know, or anything like that, but you just get all these cars passing you. It's just a constant reminder of the human kindness that exists within this imprisoned, confined, controlled, enslaved reality. The mere fact is that I came to hear something that comes to state that human kindness has become so rare, but if you look hard enough, it is there to be discovered. And the mere fact is, yes, eventually, out of all these cars passing, eventually a taxi stopped and gave us a lift to some intersection, right? And of course, it wasn't too much of another walk there and all of that type of thing. But the mere fact is, the vibe in this taxi with another individual that was going towards wherever they were going, I think it was Hartenbos or something like that, was very, very pleasant vibe. Very like, wow, you guys are actually doing this. Like, wow, And the mere fact is that even walking to this other place, we met another person and we also mentioned all of this. And they were also like, wow, And when we got to this other intersection, we were trying to hike. I don't know where we were, but anyway, we were trying to get to George Bay and all of that. And you'd see more cars and more cars passing and all of that. And finally, a young guy stops. Out of all these cars, a young guy stops. Smile, wow, puts the bags in the car and all of that type of thing. Let's get going. I'm only going to a certain section, but I'll drop you guys off there. And once you guys are off there, that's as far as I go. Hey, a lot closer than to where we are. Why not? So I made away. And you talk about this and talk about this, and again, it's all astonished. You guys are doing this. Wow, inspiring, respect. Wow, And you're getting such a warm welcoming from a complete stranger again that took the time to stop, pick up an individual that was in need, and give them a lift. Of course, it wasn't all the way and all of that type of thing, but the journey with the trip was appreciated. So anyway, get dropped off again, middle of nowhere or whatever, and go to another intersection or whatever type of thing, and there I see a bakkie that had passed me on Mossel Bay. Literally, this punky, this freaking bakkie, I can't remember, I know it was a double cab, but this bakkie had literally passed me on the way out of Mossel Bay. Like literally, I couldn't believe it. There he was, freaking changing his wheel. And I walked over up to him and I said, big smile on my face, because I knew I saw you and I knew you had seen me as well. And I thought to myself, let me see where my kindness is literally going to get me. And I asked him, can you give me a lift to George? Yeah, no, sure. He's going to George, the outskirts of George. He stays in Great Blackberry, he's got things to do in George, so he's going to just the outskirts of George. So he takes us all the way to the outskirts of George. Again, mate. Yeah, no, respect this, yeah, no. All of this time, very welcoming attitude and all of this type of thing. Drops us off, every single person that gave us a lift, we kind of gave a friendly gesture, a friendly gift, just say thank you, some random kindness, why not, So the mere fact is that get dropped off and catch a bus, from the outskirts of George all the way into George, you know, and it's like, it's such a weird vibe, you know, going into that town, you know, I like originating from that town and all of that type of thing, and traveling back into the town, you kind of feel that like so much has changed, and you kind of don't know what, but you kind of know that there is like a feeling to something has changed. Anyway, make way from the center of town all the way to a bus station. Also, again, very friendly and all of that. People also just very kind old lady also talking to us about our travels and all of this. And, you know, I think that it's very inspiring, you know, that it's a very positive message that we're trying to promote and all of this type of thing. So anyway, catch a bus from there to a mall just on the outskirts of George. You know, got hungry and all of that. The mission. And went to, I think, Food Lovers Market or something like that. Got something to eat, something small. Mission back. I'm again standing there. Different town, same solution. Like, seriously, like, this is when people say different same shit, different day, you know? And more people passing, more people passing, more people passing, and again, taxi. Oh, no. Get into the bus. Takes us all the way there, right? So, you arrive in wilderness, right, and it's pretty hot, right, and you're pretty tired, and you're pretty hungry, and you're pretty, you know, and you've kind of made arrangements to go to one place, and you kind of think, you know, but it's pretty far out or whatever, you don't know where exactly it is and all of those type of things, so. And you find another place, and the one person says, you know, they'll come and pick you up or whatever, you know. But during this time, you know, you're walking up and down, and you know, you're phoning up all these places, you know. People are saying, yo, find this person. We even had a person coming up to us asking us if we were homeless, alright. And the mere fact is, I kind of remember going back to Mossel Bay now. And there's a campsite down at the bottom of Mossel Bay Point, you know, and if you had to truly look at this campsite, you know, it's become what I could possibly describe as a white squatter camp. You know, you can clearly see that people are there and they are not going to budge for quite some time, you know, so what the whole arrangement is and all of that. But it's unrealistic that, like, some stranger just, like, comes up to us and says, you know, I can take you to our homeless shelter, if you're homeless, you know. But the mere fact is, we're telling them that, you know, you're trying to get to our backpackers and all of this type of thing. And, you know, precious, you know, people aren't friendly. I must honestly say, if anything, the wealthy came to truly show their true colors that day. The mere fact is that this one backpacker said, yo, no, they'll come and pick us up and all of that type of thing in half an hour or whatever. So he's sitting on the side of the bloody road and all of that type of thing and waiting on all of this type of thing. And next minute, you find out this person again, and next minute, oh no, blah, blah. You know, and you just kind of think, you know, I stayed in your establishment once upon a time ago, and it was because of, you know, certain situations that I saw that I wasn't going to return back to that establishment. And quite frankly, it's a beautiful establishment. It's down, it's not up in the Wilderness Heights, you know. There is another awesome place up in the Wilderness Heights. Beautiful location, beautiful view, you know, kind, friendly people. A breakfast to die for, like, literally, if you're going there. But you know, you get this back and forth bloody attitude from this guy, and you just think, you know, why do you, like, do this? Like, what possesses this in your mind to, like, treat a person like this? Like, I don't understand how you're trying to run your operation or run your establishment and all of this type of thing, but, like, really, like, why? So anyways, so all bummed out and all of this, and I tell you now, there was a guy sitting on a bench in Wilderness, you know, there's like a bench, and it overlooks like this big field, right? And there this guy was sitting, beard and all of that, with a hat. And he was sitting there smoking his pipe, and he was checking this whole mission going on, missioning up and down, up and down, up. And he comes to us and he says, it's very hot and all of that, can I help you people, And you look at this individual and you think, out of everybody in this entire world, this is the one individual that came and asked, and at the end of the day it shows, angels look them like the most humblest of individuals. I mean, I think this guy had made like a living choice to stay on Wilderness Beach, set up camp every night and all of that type of thing, and I think it was his free living choice to live the way, but in a way I kind of felt that he was actually happy with the choice that he kind of made, maybe a bit of kindness from more people and all of that, more understanding from more people and all of that type of thing would have made his life a hell of a lot easier. But anyway, this guy with his broken ass bicycle, gets onto his bicycle and he says, I know the people that you guys were going to stay at, I know the people, I know the owner, and I personally know the owner from surfing way back then, like back a few years ago. And he says, but I know the owner and they're good people, and I'm going to go and arrange something, right? And next minute this guy heads off, complete randomness, guy heads off. Next minute, I wouldn't say about half an hour later, this guy comes back sweating. His bike's not broken or whatever, his bicycle chain's not broken or whatever. But he says, he's made an arrangement for somebody to come and pick us up and all of this type of thing. So, 15, 20 minutes later, lovely lady pitches up there, smiles from one ear to the next. Yeah, she couldn't get our bags into that car fast enough, really. Drove us all the way there. Beautiful establishment, truly and truly. Wilderness Beach House Backpacks. I recommend that any person go and stay there. I do not know if they're 420 friendly, but it's literally, I would say, less than about 5-minute walk to the beach. And once you're on the beach, you just got forever. Like, you just can just keep on walking and walking and walking, and I tell you now, it will just take all your thoughts away. I must say that if I came to discover anything on this whole experience, I didn't discover peace with individuals, I didn't discover love with individuals, of course, yes, I'm not saying again there were warm-hearted individuals and all of this type of thing, but the main fact is that what I truly discovered was that there was such a sense of peace to just sit on the beach and just let it all, just free yourself of every single thought, just sit there and just let it all out. Like, seriously, love, I must say, beautiful place. My camp was right next to Morning Glory, which is basically the main ingredient for LSA, and I tell you now, again, just falling asleep, listening to the waves, and just waking up and seeing such a beautiful environment. It kind of like touches your soul. I mean, literally it's touching my soul right now. I mean, so at the end of the day, to actually be able to experience this, I mean, it's such a sense of happiness, and you truly come to discover yourself. You truly do come to discover yourself, and so many different ways, mentally and emotionally. It's actually quite a impacting meditative experience, if you had to truly think about it and all of that type of thing. Yeah, look at me, I'm getting all emotional here. But anyways, it was actually a beautiful experience. I mean, this is, I'm not lying. I mean, the experience was to actually be there. Besides the way that people are able to treat each other. And to sit there and to realize that you are part of something far greater than what we have come to describe and what we have come to expect, you know. And so, I mean, leaving the place, you know, it was a different experience, you know. It was a humbling experience, you know. People had truly welcomed us, you know. I must say that it was a very, very welcoming vibe. Very, very welcoming vibe. Very, very awesome pizza. Like, I must say that. And, you know, I must say that I wish them all the best for future endeavors. I wish them all the best. I will recommend any person to go to 2 places in the whole wilderness, you know. And besides those 2 places, besides that, I do not know. But what I also can't understand is that George is seeking so much tourism. They want people to come to this beautiful town, and if you look at the mountain and all of that, it's truly, truly a stunning thing, sight to see. And the places to explore in George, I mean, you can go up the mountain, there's forest walks, I mean, there's a beautiful walk along the Garden Route Dam. I mean, honestly, I mean, there's a 5-day hiking experience, you know, from I think just on the outside of George all the way to Namaste. You know, it's a 5-day beautiful experience. Like, truly, you'll be so amazed by nature. And it's just mind-blowing how this little town has like kept itself to be so conservative and so shut off from the rest of the world. Like, if they don't want tourists there, I've personally experienced and the police brutality that can come out of that town, like literally like being pepper spray, being slapped, you know, having you totally turned upside down, like literally. But the mere fact is, you know, all for marijuana, like, honestly, like, you don't understand, like, it's like, I don't know, it's like, you go to George and you see the police there, and, you know, you come to Cape Town, you go to Port Elizabeth, you go to even to Iceland, they seem to be even more chilled off in Iceland. You go to Mossel, they even seem to be more chilled off in Mossel. But I tell you, you know, you pull into George, you got another thing coming to you, like, really and truly. It's like, it's no fucking bloody laughing matter. I cannot understand how people can, like, make jokes about people being arrested, people being searched, people being, like, all of this type of thing for marijuana. Like, really and truly, I cannot understand, because literally to go through such a horrid experience, it's truly a horrid experience, is like, so, like, wow, like really and truly. But anyways, again, you know, the nature, the people, the accommodation, the location, you know, the whole experience was worth it. It was a learning experience. It woke me up a lot, like, really and truly. I read so many posts about people posting all this stuff about peace, love, happiness, unity, and all of this type of thing. And I came to realize how limited their own words are. And maybe my words are that way as well, but I try, because maybe I've woken up to it, maybe I'm trying to not be that, but, you know, I'm not perfect, you know, you can only seek the betterment of life, you know, and I think that's what I hoped to have discovered on this journey, the betterment of life. And what I truly discovered was, you know, life is worth living. You know, there's more to life. It's not going to be the last journey. I believe in change, I believe in unity, I believe in humility. I've suffered, so I've explored enough and experienced enough suffering from life to not know that it doesn't exist. I know that there are other people looking out in this world or looking for the same thing. And this, I know it's not the last journey. I really know it's not the last journey. You know, and if there was anything that I would like to take away or leave from this journey, it's like many people have also come to ask this question. But I have come to ask myself this, what came to change me? What really came to change me? What really came to change me was the state of suffering. To nearly be homeless and to have no one actually basically around to actually understand the situation that you are in, and to know that there are other people. Talking about that, if I had to go into Cape Town, there are backpackers that I was also in that had individuals that also had nowhere to go. Literally, you come to Cape Town and you hear of double deposits, triple deposits. Where does this come from? This is complete capitalization. Anywhere else in the country, like for instance, I found a beautiful house, little cottage, 2-bedroom, whatever, a little yard, beautiful backyard, all of this time, 7,500 Rand, just with one deposit. You're looking for that in Cape Town, and it's like crazy, and it's like really disappointing. Like, what is gonna take people to change? Does it really have to lead into a state of suffering for people to change? If people are aware of what's going on already, why aren't people continuously wanting to live in this state? I don't want to live in it. I've made the choice. I made the choice years ago. Talk about if the system. Literally the system has failed. Literally, and looking towards the system for help, for guidance, for any benefit of life is only going to lead to disappointment. And what more can you say? It's not going to be the last of it. So with that being with an equal understanding, maybe so.